Now we're moving to next unit, pneumonia. Yeah, pneumonia. That's the infections of the lung. The disorder still happens in the lung, yeah, pneumonia, lung infections. So lung infections does cause the patients a lot of problems, mainly problems like a cough and phlegm. Yeah, cough, phlegm, difficult breathing, yeah, difficult breathing. So that still belong to lung disorder, pneumonia. So generally speaking, for Western medicine, that's mainly caused by bacterial infections or virus infections. Pretty special case may be fungal infection, but mainly it's bacterial infection or virus infection. And the bacterial or virus transmissions by the air, that like a droplet, and the patient get some inhaled pathogen, and then go to the lung, then go to the infection. So that's generally we're talking about pneumonia. So then we're talking about the Western medicine diagnosis for pneumonia. So Western medicine diagnosis for pneumonia, basically patient have the symptoms, cough, cough with phlegm, and also patient short breath. So that's the mainly symptoms. Certainly acute lung infection. Also possible patient have fever, like a fever, chill, and generally people feel sick. And then can go to X-ray check. So when X-ray check, we can find the lung like some part is changing. So basically, if we go to X-ray check, the lung will be black color or dark color. And then we can see the rib. The rib part is the white color. So if some part of lung changing to white color, that's basically the pneumonia happens there. So that's X-ray check, CT scan, we can get a clear diagnosis. So that's basically, and also can checking patient cough with phlegm and cultured phlegm. We say pneumonia mainly is microorganism infection, maybe bacterial, maybe virus. So go to culture for the phlegm, and then we truly can find what kind of bacteria in there and what kind of virus in there. So that's basically symptoms plus laboratory test plus some emerging kind of examination. Then got a diagnosis for pneumonia. So for the treatment, we say that mainly is bacterial infection or maybe virus infection. So bacterial infection, we need to use antibiotics, kill the bacteria. So bacteria will have a lot of different kind of bacteria. So Gram-Stain, that's basically where we separate bacteria by two big categories. Y is positive, Gram-Stain positive. Y is Gram-Stain negative. So basically, these two categories, they sensitive to antibiotics is different. Yeah, different bacteria, they sensitive with different antibiotics. So we can generally say by different kind of bacteria, we selected of different antibiotics. That's the basic part. And certainly, people have other symptoms like a difficult breathing. We can give patient like inhale oxygen. That's for the bacterial infection. Yeah, bacterial infection. So bacterial infection, we say is more sensitive or effective use antibiotic to treat. But virus infections is totally depending. Yeah, totally depending. So some virus is not cause that severe kind of disorder, like we talking about common cold or even flu. Yeah, sometimes people just healed by itself. So for the virus, we are not have that effective like antivirus medications. We can kill all the virus. Just some of the virus, we may have some drugs or medications. We can kill them because virus structures is pretty simple. So bacteria is much bigger compared with virus. Bacteria, they have the cell structures and they have special structures different with human body cells. So generally speaking, antibiotics will just specially pick up some part like bacteria structure difference with the human body cells like a flag. Or maybe cell wall. That's the part body cell don't have. So that we can make medication specially kill that part. And then bacteria will be killed. But virus is more complicated. Virus is more smaller, no cells. They only have mRNA or only have DNA. They never have both. Their structures is more simple. So we know inside the human body cells, we have RNA. Yeah, we have RNA. We have DNA. So we are pretty hard to totally separate like our body cell structures with virus. So that means we couldn't specially to kill the virus in some way. So that's right now we don't have that effective like antivirus drugs right now. So like we talking about COVID-19. COVID-19 is mRNA kind of virus, cause pretty severe kind of illness disorder, including pneumonia. Yeah, including pneumonia. So that's why right now we are not totally control COVID-19 infections. Some patients still got severe kind of condition pneumonia because we didn't have effective like the antibiotics to kill the bacteria. So virus caused pneumonia could be very, very severe and even cause people die. Could be just generally like common cold, like influenza. But mainly people recovered by their immunity systems functions. So that's generally. So that's basically we need to identify what kind of passenger caused the pneumonia first. Then we pick up different kind of medication, treat the patient. And also when people got pneumonia, their age and their immunity functions is a pretty close relationship with the treatment for pneumonia. So for TCM, yeah, for TCM, uh, the illness, we go to the symptoms. 喘 is wheezers or panting. 咳 is cough. So that's the mainly symptoms of the pneumonia. Yeah, panting, cough. 肺胀 like a lung distension is comfortable in there. And 肺阳 that's some upsides in the lung. With severe kind of phase, pneumonia can development to lung upsides. And also maybe we just call 伤寒, that's cold damaged lung. And maybe 温病, that's warm passenger, yeah, winter heat damaged lung. So that's generally say for TCM category. So the illness mainly caused by external pathogens. EPI, yeah, mainly caused by EPI. But still, we talking about if body 正气 stronger, even passenger evading, they still not cause the problems. So we say wind passenger, yeah, wind warm passenger, go to the mouth and go to the nose, then evading to the lung. So that's usually we're talking about that's wind heat attacking. And also wind cold passenger still can from the nose, from the mouth, and go to the lung. Still can cause pneumonia. We say that's wind cold attacking. But even wind cold attacking, later on, because cold caused some stagnation, and then changing to heat. So that's basically external passengers from externally to the internally, and from superficially to the deeperly. So that's basically the illness happens. For TCM type, wind heat. So wind heat attacking the patients cause the pneumonia in the start stage, just the beginning. So they still have some EPI condition in there. Slightly aversion to cold and fever. And maybe have slightly sweating. And then people cough. From the beginning, there's still white phlegm coming up. And people possible rapidly breathing because some phlegm blocking the lung. And also chest pain on the chest area, final chest or maybe side of the chest. And they still may have EPI wind heat attacking symptoms there, like a headache, nose congestion, or maybe discharging, and some dry mouth. So the tongue, let it be red, let it be red. And generally say from the beginning is white coating. And then slightly changing to yellow tongue coating. The pulse still bloating of superficial pulse and rapid. So that's wind heat type. Pretty similar like common cold symptoms, but people more severe, more cough, more phlegm, plus chest pain. Thus we can think about pneumonia. So treatment principle, relieve externals and clear heat, and dispersing phlegm, open the lung. So the formula we used,麻杏石甘汤加味，加 means plus, with more ingredients. So basically, this formula originally just 4 herbs in there. Ma is 麻黄，杏 is 杏仁，石 is 石膏，甘 is 甘草。So that's originally 麻杏石甘汤. Clear some heat in the lung and stop cough without phlegm, and also relieve external EPI wind heat condition, and even sometimes wind cold condition. And then adding more herbs inside. 板蓝根、连翘、 relieve external and clear heat toxins. 黄芩 clear internal heat. And 瓜蒌桑白皮桔梗 working for the lung. Result phlegm. Open the lung, stop cough, result phlegm. So that's in the heat pattern. The formula we use. The acupoints, we use relieve externals, relieve externals. Li4, 三焦 5, that's mainly relieve externals. And then clear lung heat, lung 5. Clear internal heat, Li11. Certainly, you also can use like goblet 20, the wind points, relieve externals. So that's generally for acupuncture treatment here. Two pages the same. We can delete it, one page in here. Then we're talking about the wind cold pattern. Wind cold pattern. So slightly fever and aversion to cold. That's the external pattern EPI. And generally say wind cold pattern, no sweating. And the patient still have cough, short breath. But cold inside not cause the patient thirsty. So no thirsty. And when they cough phlegm, white phlegm, white color. And the tongue is white color. And floating tight cough. So still the same like we're talking about common cold pattern, wind cold. But these kind of patients, mainly they have more severe cough plus phlegm. That's we say, that's go to lung infection. So treatment pencil for this one, relieve external wind phlegm, but we use the warming herb or hot herbs. So we warming like channels or internally lung, and then open the lung, transform phlegm. So that's for we talking about. So the formula still 三奥汤加减 modified 加减 这是 modified. So the 三奥汤 look like we're pretty familiar. We're just talking about the 麻杏石甘汤. Remove 石膏. That's 三奥汤. That's 三奥汤. Because this cold pattern, 石膏 mainly actions is clear heat. So certainly these kind of patient, no heat there. So we remove it. Yeah, we remove it. Other herbs still in there. And then we plus more herbs. Result phlegm. Downwards lung qi result phlegm. So that's all the herbs go to the lung. 白芥子 is pretty warm, warming for the lung without phlegm. 莱菔子 qi moving. 紫苏子 still go to the lung, stop cough without phlegm. Generally speaking, these three herbs together, we have a formula name we call 三子养心汤. San just three, yeah, three herbs. 子 means seeds. Yang is tonify. Qi is like a family member. Yeah, so pretty good for warming the lung, stop cough and phlegm. Like aging the people, they pretty easily got cough phlegm problems. So that's adding here. And the 陈皮半夏 resolve phlegm. So that's our formula. Yeah, that's our formula. Acupuncture treatment. Acupuncture treatment, we still use pretty similar like points here. IF4, 三焦 5, and bladder 12. Yeah, bladder 12 is the wind point. Certainly, you still can use gallbladder 20, still wind points. And also, we're working for the lung, back through of the lung. And if patient cough severe, you could still can add in points like a 定喘, stop cough, and asthma. Actual points. So that's for this wind cold pattern. When we're talking about the pattern, phlegm heat in the lung. So this pattern can development from more EPI wind cold or EPI wind heat pattern. So that's basically heat more go to internally and can cause people fever, maybe high fever. And then possible patient have sweating and the internal heat, patient thirsty. So that's basically is more internal heat combination with the phlegm and the cough, chest pain, and the yellow kind of phlegm. Possible have some blood inside. And because blood inside, they can change the color to iron, rust kind of color, like a dark red color or dark brown color there. So that's basically kind of black color in there. And flying nostril means pretty difficult breathing and fast breathing there. So difficult breathing and the internal heat in there. Patient may have yellow, scanty kind of urination. Tongue is more dry because the heat damage body fluid. And the yellow tongue coating. Surging means pretty strong. Lodging or maybe sleepy. Sleepy means more phlegm inside. Rapid pulse. Rapid pulse means heat. The treatment principle of clear heat diffusing lung and transform phlegm. The formula we used, we still can use 麻杏石甘汤 with 葶苈大枣泻肺汤 together and adding other herbs. So 麻杏石甘汤 the same, we talked about already. Stop cough and result phlegm. 葶苈大枣 basically they just have 2 ingredients inside. 葶苈子 and 大枣 usually we use 20 pieces, 10 to 20 pieces. So that's the 葶苈大枣泻肺汤. But 处理 they adding more herbs there, so they remove 大枣 here. Then clear lung heat, clear lung heat. That's the group, clear lung heat. 鱼腥草、地骨皮 and 黄芩、桑白皮。黄芩 can clears mainly upper jaw, middle jaw heat, including the lung. 桑白皮、鱼腥草 especially go to the lung. 地骨皮 not only clear heat in the lung, also clear diffuse kind of heat. So together, we clear mainly heat and phlegm in the lung. Acupuncture treatment, acupuncture treatment. We still can use LF4, and we need more clear heat from lung 5, and also lung 10. So lung 10 is still the point clear heat from the lung. And the result phlegm, stomach 40. You also can add in spinach. Lung relationship with 汉的阳明拉这塔菜。阳明 and 阳明 connection shape, connected. 负的阳明 stomach. So we also can clear lung heat from stomach channel. Stomach 44 is pretty good points. Clear heat from the Yangming, and from the Yangming, relieve heat from the lung. 太阴阳明 connected. So that's we talking about the 3 patterns belong to excessive pattern. Now we're moving a defensive pattern. Qi and yin defensive, qi yin both defensive. And then phlegm heat accumulation. So these kind of patients, generally say they will have chronic problems for defensive. Chronic qi and yin defensive. Then got passenger evading. Go to the lung and generate some heat and phlegm. So patients still cough and phlegm. Cough, phlegm with phlegm. And the general pattern symptoms is low fever and generally lassitude and generally weaker. And the possible have poor appetite, and maybe patient don't want to speak, and maybe losing stool. That's mainly go to qi defense side. Even spontaneous sweating, that still go to qi defense side. Yeah, Lily, can you close your microphone there? Yeah, Lily, can you close your microphone there? So that's generally T deficiency, and maybe spontaneous sweating. Yeah, spontaneous sweating. That's still T deficiency. And also possible patient have indeficiency symptoms. Indeficiency, usually we talk about 5 center heat, hot flushing, night sweating. So that's possible. You can add in some indeficiency symptoms here. And generally say is maybe right tongue without coating, or maybe pale tongue, a little bit coating. It's depending. It's more indeficiency or more qi deficiency. But generally say pulse is deficiency kind of pulse, and maybe little bit rapid. That's because indeficiency can generate some deficiency heat. So treatment principle, tonify qi, nourishing yin, and transform phlegm, and remove stagnations. So that's pneumonia, something blocking in the lung. The formula we used, yeah, the formula we used, 沙参麦门冬汤, yeah, sometimes they call 沙参麦冬汤. 麦冬 is 麦门冬, the same. And still modified, 加 plus, GM missing. So the Malay herb 沙参麦门冬 that's in nourishing or in tonified. And plus 玉竹 still in nourishing and in tonified. 桑叶 clear some heat from the lung. 天花粉 is pretty good herbs, can generate body fluid. So indeficiency will damage body fluid. So 天花粉 can generate body fluid. 白豆蔻 is a kind of aromatic herb, can move qi inside. When people have deficiency, they will cause stagnation. So using some qi moving herbs and remove stagnation. Then plus 芦根 go to the lung, result phlegm, 薏仁 result phlegm, and 北沙参. So basically, you can remove this one. Yeah, basically, 南沙参, 北沙参, both kind of intonified. So generally say we have沙参in there already, but the patient severe kind of indeficiency, you can add in more. So remove that one. And 冬瓜子 moistening, yeah, moistening for the lung. 桃仁 blood moving, yeah, blood moving herbs. So we're talking about deficiency. They will cause some stagnation. So we need some qi moving herb, blood moving herb. 淡竹叶 clear heat from the lung. And 丹皮 the same thing like 牡丹皮 clear heat from the blood. 地骨皮 still clear heat from the blood. Internal heat. So that's generally qi in deficiency pattern. So acupuncture treatment, because that's deficiency pattern, we need to tonify. Back through of the lung, back through of the lung. And the bladder 43. Bladder 43 is a pretty tonified place. Tonified qi, tonified blood, nourishing in. And then Li4 in the large touch channel, connecting with the lung, and the lung 5 clear heat from the lung.